Time to talk about the new album, Surtur Rising, which is the eighth in a row for us now. So, yeah, still going strong. About the album title, I guess we could say that the title track revolves around the great fire giant Surtur, who will, in Norse mythology, will arise at the end of the world to destroy everything. So, pretty powerful character in Norse mythology, and a pretty powerful story as it is. So it felt kind of cool to do something about that. Although it's something that we've kind of done before, but slightly different angle to it. Well, anyways, the first track of the album is called "War of the Gods," which is basically based on the mythology of the Asa gods fighting another race of gods called the Vana gods. And this war is kind of significant because during this war and after the war, they exchanged hostages to make sure that the peace remained within, like, between the two clans of gods. And that's how the Asa gods got, like, Frey and Freya, who are key figures in Norse mythology. And it's kind of an interesting story also, because the fact that the hostages that were sent to the Vana gods were kind of, well, the Vana gods weren't really happy about it, so they beheaded one of the hostages and sent the head to Odin's court. So it's kind of a lot of intrigues in the story in general, so it's very interesting. Now, all you people who've been waiting for a follow-up to Hermod's Right to Hel, Loki's Treachery Part 1, you're going to be very happy now, because we have a Loki's Treachery Part 2 on this album, and it's called Tök's Taunt. Tök, basically what Tök is actually Loki, disguised as an old giant woman. And the idea behind the track is that she's talking to, or he is, through in the medium of being Tök, is talking to the Asa gods and kind of taunting them and refusing to help them save Balder from the grips of the goddess of death. So it's a follow-up story. For everybody else, just enjoy the track. It's pretty fucking cool. Now, the title track of this album, when we discussed the album title, we had a few options up there, and of course, as I've already said, the album is entitled Surtur Rising, but we decided to actually put the second option as the title of the title track. So the song is called Destroyer of the Universe, and as I already said, it's about Surtur, the fire giant who arises at the end of the world to destroy everything with his wrath and his fire. So unfortunately for him, he also ends up consuming himself in fire. So it's kind of a apocalyptic theme to the whole thing. All right, Slaves of Fear is the title of this track. The idea behind it is perhaps nothing new for me. I've had ideas of making a song like this for a long time, but it's just that maybe I haven't felt that it would fit the album or fit us as much as it would, because it's not necessarily typical Amon Amarth lyrics. Even though there are some references to Odin within the lyrics, it's not a song about Vikings or Viking gods per se. It's more a reflection on the world that we live in today, where religious fanatics are, trying to control people with fear, be it like terrorism, or be it just by preaching that if you don't do what they say, you'll burn in hell for all eternity. And in my opinion, that's just, a way of keeping people down and keeping people from actually leading and living, great lives and prosperous life. And they do this obviously for either political gain, financial gain, or just, for power, more or less. So it's kind of a story which is my kind of reflection upon this thing, and with the song actually mainly written by our drummer Frederick, it's also a new take on our musical abilities. So it kind of felt good to put something different lyric-wise to it as well.
They speak of love and tolerance, thrive on people's ignorance, to make you all slaves of fear. They feed on your anxiety, to build their dead society. They kept you down for a thousand.
Well, this song is called "Live Without Regrets," and the idea came from. I was reading a book in the Poetic Edda, which is kind of like the Holy Grail or the Bible of Norse mythology, if you will. But basically, it's called Havamol, and it's there's a passage in there that speaks about how to live your life without fear, but I'm not going to go into it because I can't remember the exact English translation for it. But basically, the idea is to the lyrics is about fighting for who you are, for what you believe in, and to do what you believe in strongly, and to do what's right for you, and for the people closest to you. That's how you become happy. And if a friend or like a family member who have that urge to live their life to the fullest, if they should, fall victims to their urges, at least they were able to live the way they wanted to live. And I think that's something very important. I think a lot of people are losing track of the fact that we only have one life. We should make the most of it. I mean, it's kind of it's deep philosophy through a Norse mythology kind of idea, but I don't want to preach to anybody really, but it's kind of just my thoughts upon life in general, and that's sort of the aim with that song, to kind of reflect upon it, but also to describe the way the Vikings lived their lives, because they were fatalists. They didn't, they believed that fate was written for them, so they didn't really have any fears at all. So it's kind of connecting those two, the philosophy and the history behind everything surrounding Vikings. last stand of Frey. And in this song also connects to the title track and to the cover, because at the end of the world in Norse mythology, which is Ragnarök, Frey will be the god that faces the mighty Surtur as he rises. And he actually kind of makes sure that Surtur dies before Surtur kills him, but he knows he's going to die. The title itself is kind of a double meaning, because it is Frey's last stand, of course. But for those of you who know Norse mythology, you know that Frey has other attributes that stand. So you think about that.
I go forth to meet my doom, but I will die in vain. Petition waits from everyone. The world will die in flame.
All right, so this song is called For Victory or Death, and it's kind of a cliche type of title, I know, but so is, I guess, the lyrics. The story is about vengeance, really, kind of reflecting on the fact that religion has been keeping people down for centuries, and finally, people all over the world are kind of waking up to see a new day where religion does not have the same significance in the society, which I think it's a great thing. As many people probably know already, I'm an atheist, so for me, to see religion having a smaller part in our lives is a really cool thing. So that's kind of what I wanted to get out of the lyrics. I'm not sure if I really succeeded or not, but I think it's a pretty cool thing pretty cool story where at the end of the day, I think that human nature and humanity will conquer superstition and religion. Now here's a title that a lot of people probably will remember. It's Wrath of the Norsemen. But contrary to what a lot of people maybe think, we have never had a song called this. However, we did have a DVD a few years back that actually went gold over here in the US and platinum in Canada. So you should check it out. It's a pretty cool DVD. Anyways, this story is kind of just look upon like from the other side of the other side of the blade. In a Viking raid, more or less. It's about a guy waking up from being unconscious, and he's kind of unsure of where he is or what's happened to him, but gradually he realizes what's been going on and that everybody is dead and that the Vikings had been there and just left devastation. So it's kind of a brutal song, even though it's not really action going on, more like him waking up to a horrible truth that he's like the sole survivor after a Viking raid. One of my favorites on this album, and not only because I like the song, but also because it's about Fenris. The Fenris wolf, which is one of the coolest and meanest characters in Norse mythology. It's called A Beast Am I, and it's basically Fenris talking about himself, explaining who he is and what he's done, and what's going to happen at the end of the world when he'll get free again. In Norse mythology, Fenris was bound after the gods deceiving him, and he is just urging to get loose and claim revenge, and that's what he wants to do. Doom Over Dead Man. Here's another song influenced by Havamol, which kind of connects to the song I was talking about in an earlier clip, Live Without Regrets. Doom Over Dead Man is inspired by a phrase that pretty much goes like, friends die, cattle die, and you will die the same. But I know one thing that never dies, doom over dead man. And the way I interpret that is that we know that all of us knows that we will die. But what will live is what people remember about us. So if you leave a good memory, you will leave a good name. And people will miss you and mourn you, but they will learn from you, and they will take a part of you with them forever. And that's, in my opinion, is a way to become immortal. If you can leave a positive thinking behind you for someone else, and if you can give them something to remember you by, that's the best way to become immortal, in my opinion. The story itself is about a man who actually kind of did the opposite in his life, and on his deathbed, he is starting to realize that he has wasted his life, and now it's too late to go back and redo anything or make things right. So it's kind of really depressing song, actually. Let's not talk about it anymore.